Darling, you send me.
I am on my way to Snappy Nappy 2018. It is a historical reenactment miniature game of the French versus the British and the Spanish. And there's some guerrillas in there too. They kind of float around and do whatever they want. Anyway, so this is just a quick introduction video of what I'll be doing. Today, I'm going with my grandpa. We are both playing for the French. And because we're not really too familiar with the miniature rules of the game, we kind of asked for smaller detachments just to kind of like, you know, we played it last year, but like we're still not used to it or whatever. And they even gave us like updated rules, and so we still don't even know what's going to be going on. So I guess we'll kind of figure it out as we go. So I'm driving to pick them up right now, and then we're gonna drive to the Time Machine in Manchester, and then we will have tons of fun. One thing I will say is it begins at 10 o'clock in the morning and it goes all the way until 5. Right now it's 8:30, so driving to pick them up, and then on the way, I'm gonna buy lunch food, and then be there for like 9:30, 9:45 or whatever. So hopefully it all works out, and I'm going to be taking a bunch of pictures, having some short videos, and then I'll probably narrate at the very end, kind of wrapping up what happened in the game itself. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Should be exciting. Going to kill a lot of troops. Probably have all of mine die, because last year I was in charge of a cavalry brigade, and I had like 1 or 2 cannons and like no infantry, and that was it. So basically it was just me moving as fast as possible, just running people down, which was tons of fun because I was teamed up with 2 allies and they were kind of distracting the enemy, and I would just run around and like fight from the back. Anyway, tons of fun. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. So I'm just going to run around like crazy to different towns and just like kind of drawing off enemy fire and stuff like that. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't really know for too sure. So, yep, I'll be back soon.
Then side B fires, side A fires, then melees, then it's your move.
Okay.
So you can do defensive fire here.
That's the type of troop. It's different. This is the weird part. Because you didn't, because he moved to you, he's charging. You get to shoot. You need a 10. So he gets the fire. Needs a 10. No. 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 Which is as it should be. But it wasted the roll. I have a hit.
All right. So see, I shouldn't have bragged. It was too early. Yep. There we go. That's a hit. That's another hit. His infantry, line infantry is 7s. Keep going, right? 7.
There you go.
There you go.
2 hits is good.
All right.
Presence has been felt. Oh, you're
We're going to charge.
okay.
Actually, we'll do it this way. It doesn't matter because I'm going to get shot either way. All right. Now, since they were
He's limbered.
he's limbered. So is he still under command, or
Oh
do I
yeah,
have
yeah,
to do
no,
something?
yeah. He's not gone yet. He's panicked, which means is
He can't shoot.
Capabilities, yeah, you're right. Actually, panic can't shoot. Yeah.
All right.
So he's just waiting to get rallied.
Or routed.
All right. And you can only rally one unit at a time, right?
Right. So you have to figure out a safe spot for him until your officer can get to him. Unless your officer gets to him now.
Yeah.
If you roll and you hit him, he's gonna have to roll morale check. You can roll 2 dice instead of 1.
All right. And they can move.
Oh yeah. Voluntary movement. Yeah, that's fine. You can go there.
Can't retrograde. Can't reverse wheel.
Very flexible to move.
So aftermath. It was a very quick game. So we had the whole time chunk of 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. But unfortunately, due to some circumstances that happened, we ended at like 2:45. Last year it was wildly different. We had to actually we prolonged the game past its 5 o'clock cutoff time to 5:20 last year, and there were still battles going on, and we just had to stop it, you know. But this year we actually got out early. Here's why. So, what I was in charge of was a couple infantry stands, like 2 small captains, and 1 piece of artillery. And my lieutenant buddy also had about the same army composition. So we were basically just kind of like support. If we saw any enemies, we would either not engage or run away. We fooled around for like a table or two, just kind of wandering, figuring out where we had to go. And then we popped on a table. And there was a massive fight between French troops and Portuguese troops. Smack dab. So, while they were clashing, here's Portuguese, we came in behind this way, right? So we cut off their escape route. Now, the way that the tables work is there's deployment zones. So if you want to move to another table, you have to go into this gray patch of area on the map. And then you have to wait a full turn for you to move from that table to the other one, just for gameplay sake. So what we did, we cut off their escape route. We got in front of the Portuguese army's only possible means of escaping, which is one of the deployment zones. And so it was just massacre from there. Just like, we crunched him right in the middle. I mean, the Portuguese player, props to him. Like, he survived for as long as he could. He just kept rolling, high number after high number. His men just kept surviving no matter how many bullets they took or how many cannon shells went right through their legs. They're just like, nah, I'm fine. Your arm's off. It 'tis but a flesh wound. Same thing like that. So, yeah, I mean, it was a total rout. Like, I didn't lose a single guy the entire game. It was just utter chaos. And so we moved from that table to another table, just trying to find out where we were in relation to everyone else. And people that we did not get in contact with, but we saw what was going on at a different table, was the Battle of Lisbon. It was like 6 players, all with huge armies and the Navy and cannons and everything, just murdering each other. Like, it was literally hundreds of people died. Like, not actual people, but like fake people, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was a bloodbath. And man, because it's us, the French, against Portuguese, British, and Spanish, and then guerrillas in there, guerrilla fighters. So what happened was the British got so whooped at Lisbon that they literally surrendered. They're like, okay, we didn't even lose all of our troops, but we surrender. And that was about like 2 o'clock. So the main British force had been destroyed and given up. Portuguese were all but destroyed. There were a couple of guerrilla forces around some places, and there's scattered Spanish everywhere. So, me and my lieutenant, we went to another table. We're like, oh, we're gonna look for a fight. We still got like 3 hours left. Might as well, get stuck in and then kill some people. So we went to another table, and we saw some people defending a town. And by that point, like 90% of the players there, there's like 25 people there. So it was a lot, it was a ton of people with a ton of armies. Anyway, so by that time, probably 90% of the other players were kind of winding down because their armies couldn't do anything, or they had been defeated, and so people were just talking with each other about their own unique experiences on the tables and who they fought and whatever. So I was looking for a fight, but then stuff was winding down and everyone didn't really feel like playing anymore. So we're just like, all right, we'll call it. And people started cleaning up. And I was like 2:45. So all in all, incredibly fun. I was only part of one major battle, and I got a couple kills. I killed some people with a cannon, and then I had my tiny group of infantry just like bum rush in with their bayonets, and and then they got sandwiched from one. So, so our ally had some horses, and the horses were just charging in like this. The Portuguese in the middle right here, and I had my infantry over here, and they came in like this. So we sandwiched them. So it was two large armies sandwiching the Portuguese, and then of the people retreating, we sandwiched them again. So it was like a double sandwich. So that was probably the most enjoyable part, was just participating in that battle and just destroying this guy. Like, poor guy. He was all by himself, and like halfway through the battle, like he was, there was no way for him to escape. He had, enemies on all sides. We were crushing in on him or whatever. He gets a note from one of his allies at the Lisbon table where the huge battle with like the Navy was going on. He gets a letter from them, and they're like, "Can you come help us? We need your help. We're being outnumbered, and like we're all dying." And he just looks at the player, and just goes, "How long ago did you send this?" And the guy's like 20 minutes ago. And the guy's like, like he couldn't do anything. He couldn't even like escape at all. Like if he tried to escape, he'd have to run across like a river, and like if he did that, he would die. Anyway, so he got the note, and there's nothing he could do. He was already dead. I mean, he had like his full army was there, but he knew he was dead, and he was, give or take, 45 minutes. So I mean, yeah, it was a fairly short game. But I think the best part is just the sense of community that all these players have. Like, we all get there, and like, of course, we're all wearing name tags just in case, because like there's like 20 people, and it's hard to remember everyone's name when you haven't seen each other in a year. But yeah, like I start talking with people, hanging out with people, and to be fair, let me just preface this. I should have done this at the beginning of the video, but I am by far the youngest player there. Like, I'm 21, and I'm by far the youngest. And like my grandpa is 95, and like the average age of players is like anywhere from 60s to like mid 70s, so like fairly up there. The next youngest guy other than me looked like he was probably about like late 20s or 30. So I mean, regardless, that's only a couple years difference, but from him it was like 50, like 21, let's say 28, and then 50. It's a kind of a large jump. But like, yeah, everyone there's like super nice, and they all like talking about either their own personal lives or what they want to do in the game, or just making jokes and making fun of people and whatnot, as you do, whether it's friend or foe. So yeah, I mean, that's a good wrap up to Snappy Nappy 2018. I don't even remember what the official name of the campaign was. I just know it was French against British, Portuguese, and Spanish. So. Well, that's going to conclude it for another video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed, even though you didn't get to technically see any gameplay. There's a few video clips in there, but I would like to do more, but it was just a lot of like rules intensive type of like step-by-step combat and like step-by-step turn movement. And if you're not familiar with the rules, it's going to be really hard to follow. Like, I was barely following it, and I've played twice now in a year. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you're interested in this type of game, I believe you can just Google Snappy Nappy, and it comes up with the rules for like historical miniature reenactments or whatever. And they do events all over the place. I think there's an event coming up in June that's based around the Civil War, and then there's also a couple events that they do in like Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey. So yep, that's gonna do it for this video, and it's Caleb. Peace and out.